12 years of age, he went to England to continue his education. Having attained General Certificate of Education from University of Cambridge, he obtained Bachelor of Architecture and a Master of Civic Design from University of Liverpool, after which he specialized on architecture of hot dry climates from University of Geneva. Having worked with some well-known architects and published a number of papers, in 1961 he returned to Iran and set up his architectural office. In 1992, he also established the Institute and Library of Iranian Studies.
My life appears to be divided into four almost equal sections, of each spanning about 20 years. I would possibly divide my life, the first part, into the formative years, the second part as the professional period, and the third part, years of reflection and thought and some research. And the fourth part involved an intense activity in Iranian studies. My formative years were mainly involved in activity of sports, arts and painting, graphics, photography, and the theater. Besides these, I was involved in writing, mainly short stories, which were published in my university years. The professional part of my life lasted no longer than about 17 years. And then came the Iranian Islamic Revolution, and I voluntarily left the country for a number of years. In these years of professional practice, I was naturally involved in architectural work, urban planning, landscape architecture, and design of monuments and sculptural work, and also furniture.
The practice of Dariush Borbor in his time was amongst the top architectural and urban design firms in Iran.
At the time that Borbor entered his professional career, I was an up-and-coming practicing architect of about the same age and somewhat a rival. Unlike an average fledgling architect, he was able to get big jobs, and that, I think, was mainly due to an inborn self-confidence that allowed him dare tackle large-scale and complicated projects right from the beginning of his career, which required a whole range of political, financial, and technical capabilities and know-how. Apart from the social, political, and financial qualifications, architects like Dariush Borbor were able to fine-tune themselves with the latest technical advancements.
Dariush Borbor was very positive and well informed about his work and his office. Not only he was well aware of exactly what went on, he had the knack of considering the minutest to the biggest aspects of any project. Furthermore to this, he had the art of both choosing the right person and delegating work to a capable person in its field. This allowed him to also tackle all the out-of-the-office public relation works which was required by a big office.
Our architectural work involved the design of houses, administrative buildings, university buildings, commercial buildings, a whole spectrum of architectural design.
I gradually began to realize that architectural work of Dariush Borbor had a certain discipline and logic, while at the same time some of his work appeared to have some surrealistic features.
But again, as far as the architectural work is concerned, I have always tried to be innovative, but not forced innovation. In other words, innovation which has evolved from the use of materials and also the actual nature of the construction and the building concerned. My architectural work, as far as style is concerned, I have often been asked what is my architectural style. I cannot really explain this because I really don't know whether I had never tried to evolve a style. Probably I may have a style of architecture, but this has not been intentional.
In its time, the architectural work of Dariush Borbor was quite unique. When I started work at Borbor's office, I noticed that this was a very independent office and was not influenced by external forces. Dariush Borbor spent hours discussing details while he never missed the overall features of the work. His advice was always to the point and was appreciated by the employees. His particular attention to the small and the big created great confidence.
Our urban planning work, I was perhaps the first person in Iran who promoted the initiation of master planning in Iran. And I have carried out more master plans than any of the other colleagues of mine in Iran. And my involvement in urban renewal work has been very intense, particularly in the surroundings of the Imam Reza Shrine, a very controversial project and a very complicated project. But anyway, we have always been involved in very complicated work. These master plans that we did for the university, the regional university of Azerbaijan, and the title was University of Azerabaijan. I left Iran a few months before the revolution, and this was a period of reflection and uncertainty, not only for me, but for most Iranians, as nobody knew what the outcome would be. I went to Paris, and after a while I set up office in Paris, and I was giving consultancy to architects and urban planners, and also offering library services to architects and urban planners for some years, and also reflecting and being involved in some research activity. After about 6 or 7 years in Paris, I left for the United States, and there I was involved in some architectural work and also in research on Iranian studies, and this lasted until about 23 years ago, when I returned to Iran.
After having known him a little better, I noticed that Dariush Borbor was very friendly, sincere, and helpful. Whenever one discussed any issues or problems with him, he listened very carefully and tried his best in solving the matter.
One of Dariush Borbor's outstanding qualities was his ability to choose the right people for the right job. He delegated power and created an atmosphere of trust, enthusiasm, and dedication, which is a basis for modern management.
I returned to Iran about 23 years ago, and I created the Research Institute and Library of Iranian Studies. Our goal was to gather a small group of researchers in different fields of study and conduct some research which would have been impossible for one person to do. Amongst others, the main field of research that we have been involved in the past years has been an etymological dictionary of reduplication, some subjects on toponymy of Iran, and also a great involvement in an original research on the Borbor tribe, which has been one of the biggest and the oldest of Iranian tribes, that very little research has been conducted on it. And in fact, we have initiated this research, and it has involved a great deal of studies in the field, and the last research that we will do on the subject would be a DNA study of in order to establish the history, various movements, and various distributions of this tribe. And also an original research involving a number of different fields in wine culture in ancient Iran. Apart from the directing of the day-to-day activities of the research institute, I have been personally involved in a certain number of researches on various aspects of Iranian studies, and participation in conferences in various parts of the world, and lecturing in various universities in Europe and United States.